developments are done justice by the students. This is the what I can say debatable or question mark among us as effective teachers. Here, the teachers must work more on this apart from regular curriculum. All that my observation goes on the present days. Teachers are much interested. I'm not telling, pinpointing all the teachers, but some of the teachers or most of the teachers are concentrating in developing or giving more importance for the examination point of view and also marks oriented situation. But students now they have the open source everywhere, anywhere they can learn. But they are missing something, some connection between the students and teachers. What is that? That is a holistic approach. What may be, how the holistic approach can be inculcated in the minds of the students? Yes, it is the teachers are torch bearers. They give the light to their mind, intelligence, activity, and also their sometimes to a certain extent life skill. So this for this they need to have work ethics, culture, and values. And no doubt, one of the researcher has given, Louis, I can say, he has given what may be the work ethics, how a person should conduct himself in the organization, or here the teacher to a certain extent. One must be honest, and also honesty, punctuality, fairness, and integrity. So these four things are the components that a teacher can also follow. But this is not sufficient for holistic approach. A teacher should understand oneself thoroughly. That is, according to J. Krishnamurti, a philosopher, he says, the highest form of human intelligence is to observe yourself without judgment. Many times we judge our own self saying that I'm doing my best. I've done my duty. Oh, it is not my work. Whatever the thing that is to be done, I've done already. So this may be the attitude of the teachers. But kindly see that you have to, or as a teacher, I don't want to say anybody in particular, but as a teacher, the, the approach must be self justiciable. You have to have self-just, that is, we can say that one must see that the ethics are fading away gradually among the students or in public in general. And they exhibit their disobedience, aggressiveness, anger, and also through their behavior, physical, material, and also entertainment activities, and also irresponsibility, easygoing, carelessness, slavery to gadgets, non cooperation, in immoral behavior. These are all very, very common things which are growing intensively among, I can say, the youth or the students or the public in general, because they lacks moral education, value-based education, which are very important because everywhere we find the disturbance in the society, aggressiveness, non-cooperation. So the teacher, as a torch bearer, should do something towards these things and make oneself what I can say, mold oneself to change, to make the situation to change. How? Through self-tutoring. How is that self-tutoring can be possible? Yes, it is possible. The other day I was watching Sony TV. A 6-year-old boy was participant in some song event program, and he was singing so beautifully. And the judge asked, "Hey, what is this? You're singing so nicely. Who is your teacher?" He asked. "Sir, no teacher for me. I'm self-tutor." Imagine such an young, small boy is telling that he is having the self-tutoring. That means, as a teacher, we should have some set of understanding our weakness, our strength, our alternatives, what to do, what not to do, when to do, how to conduct oneself through self understanding, self awareness, always staying with the positive people and connecting oneself with the students, self empowerment, and self confidence, self faith, self control, and smile to connect. All these are all the various components again for self tutoring. So, this may help the student or teachers, sorry, to approach holistic approach for students' development. So, how a teacher should play the role in the students' development? A teacher should play the role as a friend, guide, and philosopher. This is very old saying, a friend, a philosopher, and also guide. But when we compare with some of the eminent teachers who motivated a lot, majority of them, the students, he was, take Dr. Abdul Kalam, take Dr. Radhakrishna. They are celebrating his birthday even today. And when I just talk about the Teachers' Day, those days when I was lecturer, when I was a teacher, students, one of the best program was celebrating Teachers' Day. Students used to celebrate in a large scale. They used to invite us to the classrooms, and they used to praise, and used to talk about us, and they used to talk about achievement and whatever the things. And we used to keep the bouquets in the staff room. And since it is morning, we will keep one bucket and filling the water and put all the bouquets in on the bucket so that it will not dry. So this was the days when we enjoyed as a teacher. But recently, I just inquired one of the young teacher, how are you celebrating? How the students are celebrating Teachers' Day? You don't know, madam, they don't even care for us. They don't even wish. Why is that? Where is teachers' respect? Why is that it is not being identified as a teacher by the students? Is it mindsetting? Is this there is no any moral education? The education is not based on value based. Where is the culture? Everything is fading away. So we have to change. So this holistic approach for students' development is must for the student, for the teachers. A teacher should play a role as a role model, as inspirer, and also discipliner. This I need not explain as a teachers, And the best communication to deliver the subject matter clearly, and wherever is necessary, you have to pause and ask the students and go very clearly and observing the students whether they understood or not. Of course, students' mentality has changed a lot. Disobedience is very, very common, and disturbance, distraction are very common among students. We have to grab their attention. This is the role of the teacher. And effective teaching and also capacity building among the students, both in the subject and also self growth, and creating interest in learning through technology. Most of us, of course, nowadays it has become very common. PPTs are used. But more than that, audio visuals, role play, taking some of the stories of the successful entrepreneurs or business persons or not only business and the good leaders, you can take example and show and create the interest. It will be a motivation to the students to think about, if not all, we can't change everybody immediately, at least few students may think about it. We have to make the situation to make them to think about what it is being told in the classroom. And also, most of the time the teachers will stand on the dais and they'll be giving some lecture on the subject or so. But this will not work always. You have to move around the classroom, and you have to, wherever it's necessary, you have to pass and stand near the student, connect yourself mentally with the students, ask them, have you understood, what is your part? Okay, everything um, you can just give. So this we may connect the students, between you, a relationship building may be formed in this way. And joining students' activities as co-participant is another important tool for the teachers to have the holistic approach, and encouraging students in aligning body, mind, and emotion through mind resting. This is another very important tool this teachers must try, at least for 10 minutes before the class. Let them start some set of sayings and let them just give some tips for mind resting. For that, one must have the knowledge of meditation, yoga, and also how to rest oneself peacefully in the mind. See, most of the times the students are disturbed. How to just to make them calm in the class, how to grab the attention of the students is very important in the classroom. And also building self confidence and believing oneself. You have to have. Teachers must have the interest and also involvement, not only self, and create the involvement among students. So it is said, the Chinese proverb, tell me, I will forget. Show me, I remember. Involve me, I understand. Only through involvement. The lecture method will not help them. They'll forget. To a certain extent, if you show PPT and other things, they may remember. But to make them to understand and prepare them as a good student or good citizen, one should make them to involve so that they will understand it, not only the subject matter but also the life skill. To certain extent, let us share some of our experiences and how we were as a students, how we were using our time, how we were preparing, how we were conducting, how the education was value based, etc., etc. You can say. If not all the students will accept, at least few students will definitely accept. Say little by little, slowly, this will spread. So we have to say accepting the replacement of I into we. How? The I will be illness. Nanu nannadu. I don't care for anybody. I, that is illness of oneself. That has to be turned to wellness. How? When we say we are the students, we are the citizen, we are the best persons, human beings. When we say, when I turns to we, it is the illness will turn to wellness. So, physical wellness, mental wellness, emotional wellness, and societal wellness, very important. All these are all, it's not that we say everything is begins from family. Those days are gone. Everything begins outside now. Everything begins with some social media. So let us just spread some good things. And everything begins sometimes for some students in the class. So let the students or let the teachers, maybe the torch bearer, give them the faith and also the self confidence. So, as see, many times, of course, teachers may hear from the students negligence, non cooperation, etc. See, this is, of course, Japanese culture. When we take in Japan, they say, if one can do, you must do. Okay, you will also do, or let him do. If no one can do, you must do. That means if nobody is doing, but you have to do. So this is the self-responsibility they will incorporate. We will talk about the rights, forgetting the responsibility. So this is Japanese culture. When we talk about the Indian culture, let us turn this way. If someone can do, let him do. ನಾನ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಅವನೇ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿ ಬಿಡು. ಇಫ್ ನೋ ಒನ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡೂ, ಹೌ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಐ ಡೂ? ಯಾರು ಮಾಡದೇ ಇರುವಾಗ ನಾನು ಹೆಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿ? This is the question always been asked. Not only the youngsters, youth or students, even generally the public. They'll say, ನಾನು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. Say, I'm not connected to this. So let's differently, let us see, they need to have some change. So how are we cultivating student success through holistic approach? This is again one more few steps that I'm giving here. 7 tips to the teachers. Review the lessons and repeat if necessary, and make every individual to understand. Understanding is the main criteria. Then create a safe classroom environment that encourages asking questions and sharing the ideas. Sharing and caring is missing. That has to be done. So let students encourage to ask the question. And that question, of course, there must be sharing the idea. If not this person, the other person may give some result, some answer. So sharing one another is very important in the classroom. Convey information in a clear and non-judgmental way. There is no any discrimination by the teacher. So information must be conveyed to each and everybody in the classroom. Respect privacy of individuals. Students are very sensitive. They have to be treated properly. And we have to respect their individuality. So if you wanted to tell or scold, please call them privately and just give them some suggestions and some tips to change. Teachers must do this, otherwise, students will show their aggressiveness. Be familiar with the real resources for helping with the problem. See, it may be the library facilities or technology facility, anything. Now you can see all AI is working, everything is there. You can just give them the guidance to solve any sort of problem. It only not only the subject matter, but even the other things which may be the life skill or so. And many times keep families informed and involved. It may be many in the absenteeism. Students absent is very common. Let the family should be known. This is a very important factor. As a disciplinarian, you have to check this. And the last thing that I wanted to tell you is Power Your Mind, 100 Thoughts Capsule. This is the book. Swami Sri Kantananda from Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence is giving who is a teacher. Teacher, the role model. See, please, sir, this is in form of poem. I just read. I don't care for praise or blame. I try my best without caring for gain. I take it as a challenge to serve my friends. I want them all to be wonderful gems. I prepare my notes with lots of pain. To give something new is always my aim. And I love my students and never use a cane. No cheap talk for personal fame. I use my time to enlighten them. I put moral values in tender brains. I don't know why students respect me well. I feel proud seeing them hearty and ale. Without a role model, teaching is a vain. Only what I practice, that's all I tell them. I am proud to be called a torch bearer, nation builder, or my on my sincere efforts depends India's future. I am grateful to God for making me a teacher. A teacher is compared to Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar. So let us play the role effectively. I hope that I am closing this. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Kamakshi, ma'am. It was
Yeah,
wonderful to hear from you. The tips that
thank
you gave, your experience, what you shared with us, it's incredible, ma'am.
thank you, ma. Thank you. So I don't know. I would have scolded the teachers. Sorry for that. To a certain extent, if I talk about my experience, it was entirely different. So since it is the inaugural speech, I don't want to talk about myself. So I've given this.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thanks.
much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma.
Dr.
So
Shobhan,
If anyone has any questions
yeah,
to,
please ask questions. I can answer.
you may unmute yourself and talk. If you have any questions, please talk. Ma'am, I have a question, ma'am.
Yeah,
Oh,
please.
now, there's a drastic change with the teacher-student relationship in pre-COVID and pro-COVID,
Yeah.
post-COVID. So what do you feel, and how should see, we've seen both the situations. So for a teacher to get used to both the situations, it is so difficult. So can you please give us suggestions as to how to cope up with these drastic changes as a teacher?
Change is must. As we walk on the path, a bend in the road is not end of the road unless you fail to make the turn. We have to adjust to this situation. Of course, pre-COVID period was entirely different. During COVID period, frustration, dissatisfaction, restlessness, all negative things have come. It is, and especially to the youth, they suffered a lot. The aggressiveness is increased. And now, as after COVID, we can see that the technology improvement, advancement in any of this, especially the AI and other things, everything has come. Everything is in their tips. What is the role of a teacher in front of that? Only human relationship, no? Human touch, no? Connectivity, no? Talking with the students, friendly, guiding way, and attractive way. See how a family can adjust with these students. They will always talk in an appropriate way. Yes, connecting oneself with all smiles and touch, creating human relationship. Human centric is the main theme after COVID. Humanity must increase, but that is missing, isn't it?
Thanks to mobile phones and gadgets.
To a certain extent, we
Yeah, there
need
are
it.
positives, but
The positives,
mm,
but it's a challenge to the teachers. I'll tell you, we have to cope up with that. See, otherwise, negligence will increase. And I don't know, they are not celebrating the Teachers' Day because of displeasure. They're not getting anything new. What is there in the Google and other things, of course, that will be downloaded and told. See, the teacher should go beyond it. Out of box, we say. See, more than what the Google and other things is giving, we should also train ourselves connected to the subject. Connected to the subject, practicability. Take some of the practical examples. It may be the story or role model, or it may be some moral, and business tycoons, leaders. I told already. Take them, how they have built. They have not changed, no? Only students have changed after COVID. They are putting their efforts. Yes, they are building the nation. What are we doing? What's our role? So nice. Good question you asked.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Uh, Madam, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, Madam, I'm Manoj from Bangalore. It's
Yes,
very
sir.
energetic to listen to you, what you said. It was more of the experiences I've had.
Yes, sir.
Madam, one basic question. I've been into teaching since 1999. And
Yes.
over a period of time, as you mentioned in your presentation, the thought process of the teacher now is restricted only to books, notes,
Yes.
examination.
Yes.
Madam, now, we teachers, when we joined college, obviously you joined some 10 years back.
Yes, sir.
There was no formal training. There was no formal training that we were given. Over a period
Mm.
of time, we made an attempt. We brought about changes. We wanted to see our students really succeed.
Yes.
But then what has happened today, especially the young teachers, the new ones, uh,
Mm.
Shobha madam, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So these teachers, what we talk about today, they are not equipped themselves, for the new work, I would say. And relying too much on technology has also become a kind of a substitute rather than complementing what I intend to say in the class. What are
Yes.
your thoughts, madam? And also, very recently I read is, study made by NASA regarding the use of AI, and they said the
Mm.
brain has stopped thinking and AI
Mm.
has taken over. How do you think
Oh,
it is going to impact teachers in the classroom?
yeah, is a problem now. Teacher, it's a challenge to the teachers. One, sir, it is also making the young teachers lazy. Everything they download, everything they'll ask AI, and they are not creating. Imagination is missing, creativity is missing, some set of connectivity is missing, effective communication is missing. Everything. See, I am 70. I have my energy because of my foundation. I
Yes,
can
ma'am.
talk, I can deliver the lecture, I can do, depends upon the situation. But how far the young teachers are doing is a question mark. That is why I told the teachers must have self-tutoring. One must mold oneself. So most of the time, the teachers are only for employment opportunity. That's all.
Yeah.
That is the problem. And they seek the management is also again problem. The college is also again problem, and peer group is also problem, and the co-workers also problem. Students also problem. Everywhere it is a problem. Issues. How are we going to tackle the issue? Is the question mark. It should come from the leader.
Yes.
Situational. It should come as is the leader. So will be the institution. So the leader must see that certain situation should be created to create the relationship, and also teachers must be respected, sir. I've not seen many of the colleges, they are respected.
Correct.
See, if you're not interested, you can get out. They say that. Quit the job. This is the general thing that I found among the teachers. They want jobs. So, but teachers are not given the appropriate environment and situation. So, when I talk about my college, NMKRV, as I enter, I was feeling that as though I get into a temple of learning. How many of the teachers have that feeling as they get into the colleges? This is the question mark. Everything is changing. Let us come back. Let us not just concentrate on only the technology. I'm very, very sorry. Connect human relationship. Very important.
Thank
Am I
you, ma'am.
answering
Thank
you,
you. I
sir?
think, yes, yes. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Can we take one question which is there in the chat box?
Evening, ma'am.
Okay. Show me the chat box, please.
Can I
Good
read it?
evening, ma'am.
Um,
Could I ask one question?
Yes, please.
Good evening, ma'am.
yes, ma. Good
Your
evening,
session
please.
is very good. It is a brainstorming session.
Thank you.
So, you had discussed one thing that most of the time we are visualizing that values are eroding from the students. So,
Hmm.
what should be done to inculcate values and to create a situation in which they respect teachers as well as they listen to their parents?
Mhm.
So what should be done?
First, we should be powerful and a effective communicator. And we should have command over the subject first. Subject commanding plus a value addition to the students is very important. So what one can do is for about 10 minutes, talk out of box for about 10 minutes because you are the classroom manager. You know how to manage. You can manage the students, manage the subject, manage the environment. So you're already empowered in the classroom. And it is your deed that you have to do something. So please, um, of course, I understand how to change, how to do. It takes its own course of time. And changing ourselves and equipping ourselves effectively can connect the students. They will respect you, ma, if you are good in subject and communication and self-respect and how are you managing and um, uh, what I can say, the human behavior Behavioral science is very important. So, not showing too much distance between you and students, connecting them with smiles, talking to them. See, they think that teachers are not interested in us, but please show your interest. Talk to them, connect, be, be a friend, a guide, and also a philosopher to a certain extent. It takes time because we have to equip ourselves first. Yes, have I answered to your question, Ma?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ma'am, can we take one last question?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, this question is from Miss
I'm
Neha.
ready to answer any sort of questions.
Okay.
Whatever, it's there, my capacity. That's all.
Can I read out
Well,
the question, ma'am?
please.
Our question is, ma'am, students are often neglecting the boundaries when we try to understand them, help them, or try to be kind and friendly with them. They often presume we are like them and start to mock teachers. How shall we handle such incidents?
Tolerance. Say first they will mock. Second, they will observe. Third, they will obey. Steps, stages. So we are not going to change. We have our own values, our behavior, our teaching efficiency, best communication. Smile. If they mock, don't bother. Yes, add, smile. See, this is the trend. We can't help it. No, trend. They're very aggressive. Youngsters, I've seen. They are not bothered. No human values, no. Wherever we should also stand as a role model by giving the human values. If they mock, oh, thank you, nice it is. Tell two to three times. They will automatically stop. Sorry, they'll come and tell. Is it not so?
Yes,
Have
ma'am.
I answered?
Yes,
Have
yes.
I
As teachers, we need to have a lot of patience. Thank you for
Your
that message.
patience, very
Don't you
important.
think we only gave them the gadgets and then we made them arrogant and now how do we change them?
Probably, probably the system is like that. We need to change, and gradually we have to come the cycle. No, the moral education, moral things, all those, and no, it's a cycle now. Too much. It's going too much beyond the boundary. But because too much of arrogance, too much of disturbance everywhere, that has to come back. Students should realize only through holistic approach we can do nothing else. But that is why I was so thrilled to see the topic selected for the teachers. One should equip oneself holistic. You go for meditation, yoga, it will help a lot. Say, I don't want to just talk about any what government scheme, this and that, and all. I don't want to. But my experience since 30 years of yoga, to this extent, I can be energetic because of yoga, because of concentration. That will build aligning oneself, body, mind, emotions, intelligence, behavior, presence of mind, and taking everything as it comes. Very important. Am I answering?
Yes, ma'am.
And
We are deeply involved in listening to your
Yes,
words.
ma'am. Because it is everybody keeps thinking about this. These questions comes in every teacher's mind.
Yeah, we are able
yes,
to
yes.
connect the dots now.
Yeah.
No, I understand. Situation is very bad sometimes. And also, we are human beings. No, we may have so many feelings, issues, and coming from home and with all disturbance, students are not cooperating. We prepared hours together for our subject, and we have to deliver, complete the portion. The higher ups will call, principal will say, why disturbance, why is that you are not keeping the students engaged, this and that and all. It's very common. Teachers to the
And
leaders
students,
should
then,
also
then
understand the
second
problem.
students will tell this
Uh,
teacher is not good.
yeah,
Just
they
just
will
one second
judge
is enough for them to
because
judge us.
no, the problem is that evaluation, teachers' evaluation, very bad method. Somebody who is not having any teaching experience who has not faced the students have given this. Very, 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 very bad. See, a person who has not come, a student who has not attended at all, not attentive, not attended, will be given a form, teacher's evaluation. He will definitely say all wrong things only because you are not giving attendance to him. It's very, very difficult. Very difficult. That has to be stopped. Say that the lawmakers or anybody who is making the rules or the regulations, they won't consult. They'll have their own higher levels. You are. I don't put down the government colleges, but in government colleges, the hierarchy. Hierarchy is the problem. The least one will be very, very intelligent than the first one. Yes, I know very well. Say, nobody will invite me excepting few people because I speak like this. Open. Who wants? Everything is just like that, no? You go with the wind, adjust, make the records. See, when are we going to change, ma? When are we going to become the role model? I was wondering how Radha Krishna will be, Radha Krishna's birthday will be celebrated at Teachers' Day. What he would have done to that extent and declaring a holiday, declare. So it's very great. We must change. No, I see one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. If anybody seeing the teachers, if you have the cooperation no, among teachers, backbiting is very common. Not letting you to go up, it is very common. Jealous, professional jealousy is another problem. If you are too young and junior, not giving importance, all these are all very common, very bad. The intelligence must be identified. The knowledge must be given power. The youngsters must change. Anybody who is capable coping the situation and challenging any sort of environment or education must be given the importance. Like, in the Western countries, why they are giving more importance. My son itself saying, I can't come here, compete. We are not identified. That is wrong. The caliber is not identified. We have to change. I don't know. When are we going to change? May I know your name, please? Yeah, Shobha, no?
Yeah, I'm
Dr.
sure.
Shobha Ines.
I'm sure.
Yes, Shobha. I'm very happy with you. You're asking. And I understand your mind also.
That's nice.
We will have a quick photo session. I request all the participants to, switch on their videos for a few seconds so that I can quickly, take a picture of all the participants.
That picture you will send.
Yes, ma'am, I will send it to you.
Why, after retirement, I'm in the four wall giving a lecture like this. But I love to meet the students, teachers. They are not able to understand my mind. I don't know. Ethics means keep yourself aside.
Let's collaborate, ma'am. We'll do many such programs, online and offline too.
Yes, yes.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
there.
I'm very happy
I
with the
will stand as
participants.
advisor and
Switched on their
one day
videos.
Jayalakshmi remembered me and she called. Where is Jayalakshmi?
Ma'am, she is attending a program in college. Today, retirement and felicitation program is going on.
I like her activity. Really, she is very busy.
Yes,
Good.
ma'am.
Maintain.
She's still there with us online, but she's unable to
Yes.
interact with us.
Yes, very nice. And she will encourage. Group photo, let me also take picture.
Yes, ma'am. You can click on the participants.
Hmm. Invite. Huh? Oh, this is coming in different form, no, ma?
No, otherwise, Dr. Shobha will share you, ma'am.
You have
She
to
will
just,
share all the photos.
Okay. Dr. Shobha may be the better person because she is
Yeah,
young. She knows how
she will share it with us.
sharing and manage the technology. And Dr. Kamakshi is weak in this way. That is why we are not taking any technology help, no? So we are empowering our own self,
Yes.
self-tutoring. Okay. So nice of you. So what's next? What is the, it's a break now?
Yeah, we'll
yeah,
have a
it's a
break.
10-minute break, and then we have
Dr.
Sam
Girish
already
will be
joined.
joining us.
He's already joined.
Okay.
We will have a short break, and then we will resume back at what time, ma'am? 6:45. We'll resume.
6:45. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
We will resume back at 6:45.
Okay. Ma. You just
Take a break.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so
Thank
much. Thanks a lot.
okay, thank you. Thank you, ma. Prachi. Yes. ಹೆಂಗೆ ಇದು ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು
Just end the meeting, ma'am.
There's a red icon called leave. You can click there, ma'am.
By Lakshman.
Hi. 3 ವರ್ಷ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ರು ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಸೀತಾರಾಮಯ್ಯ ತೊಡಗಿದ್ರು ನಾನು
Yes, madam.
Welcome back to all the participants. Dr. Girish, can you please turn on the video?
Sure, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Namaste, sir.
Namaste, ma'am. Good evening to you all.
Good evening, sir. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. Thank you very much.
So I request
You're
Dr.
free to-
Shobha Ennis to introduce Dr. Girish, the resource person of today's session. Over to you, Dr. Shobha, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Shilakshmi. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome Dr. Girish BN to the second section of today's faculty development program. Dr. Girish BN has a rich teaching experience of 28 years handling various UG and PG courses and has been a visiting faculty at various prestigious institutions. He is currently working as an associate professor and PG coordinator in the Department of Commerce, Government First Grade College and PG Center, Chintamani, Chikbalapur district. And now he has pursued his doctoral research in the area of Indian financial markets at St. Joseph's Research Center, affiliated to the Department of Commerce, Bangalore University. And he has successfully completed a short-term course on applied financial modeling conducted by Indian Institute of Technology, Hyderabad, in association with Deakin University of Australia. And he has been qualified at several NCFM modules on financial markets conducted by National Stock Exchange. His areas of interest are applications of financial econometrics, particularly option pricing models, nonlinear modeling, and stochastic volatility modeling. Dr. Girish has widely published a number of empirical research papers in UGC accredited national and international journals and has won several best paper awards. Now, recently, one of his research papers on pre-market price behavior of Indian stock market was invited to be presented at National Institute of Securities Market, NISM, SEBI, Mumbai. Now, he is well known as in academic circles for conducting and enriching workshops and FDPs, and he has successfully conducted 22 workshops and FDPs along with practical hands-on session. So it really gives it's an honor for us to listen to your lecture, sir. And I once again welcome you to the virtual faculty development program conducted by Government Ramnarayan Chowran College of Commerce and Management. Over to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for giving a nice introduction about me. Is my audio feed clear?
Yes, sir.
Is my video feed clear, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Both is clear.
All right, then I would take your permission and Dr. Azaz's permission to start the session. I would definitely not call it as a lecture, owing to a few reasons of mine, which I would be explaining to you all in a little bit of time. Before which, very good evening to everyone present here, of course, virtually. I'm deeply honored to deliver this keynote address at this prestigious national faculty development program organized by one of the most reputed institutions in Karnataka, Government Ramnayan Chelaram College of Commerce and Management. As rightly said by Kamakshi ma'am, this institution itself is a torchbearer of excellence in commerce and management education. Please do not mistake me for supporting a fellow institution, as even I am a government teacher. Nevertheless, many a time, evidences speak a lot, especially in research. We do say that it is evidences that always matter a lot, and we do have evidences right in front of us to claim that RC College, which we all call it in that way, is one of the best colleges in Karnataka because of the awards that it has got from Government of Karnataka regarding its curriculum, regarding its academic caliber. Of course, these are the topics that we would be speaking a lot about in today's discussion. Now, I told you in the beginning itself that I would not call it as a lecture. I'll be giving you two reasons for that. The first one is, this is not my specialization. Now, in case if those of you have lent your ears in listening, or rather hearing my very simple or brief resume, I'm specialized in time series econometrics, which happens to be my area of specialization. And though I would not call myself as a mathematician or a statistician, I do apply these theories a lot in my limited research. Then how come I am giving a talk on the holistic development of the students and the teachers' preparedness? This is the first question. The second important question is that, like when Azaz sir spoke to me a couple of days before, he just asked me to give a lecture on any one of these sessions in a 7-day workshop, or the FDP as we call this. And I gladly accepted because one of my very topics of interest was emotional intelligence. This is one particular area Though not, I'm a psychologist and I have definitely not done any psychology related course. But yes, I have observed a lot about human behavior in the classrooms. Owing to this experience, limited experience, I would definitely call it as it's just 28 years. And I have learned a bit of the human action right in front of me taking place, and the way in which emotions are managed, controlled, coordinated, restricted rather, cut down rather, or streamlined as the case may be, depends on the person who happens to be the sutradhara of all these things in a classroom, undoubtedly the teacher. So I thought I would be talking about that, but when Shobha ma'am shared the brochure, I was taken aback because I was asked to give a keynote address. So that also means that I'm supposed to sum up all the discussions that would happen in the course of 7 days. And when I went through the profile of the speakers, like I was taken aback by their wisdom, I was taken aback by their profile. Mind blowing achievements have been done by these resource persons, and how am I supposed to give a gist of those things that I wouldn't have heard of is the question that haunts my mind. Nevertheless, strictly speaking about the topic of this entire FDP, speaking about the theme of this entire FDP, I thought let me also share some of my thoughts and some of my aspirations and some of my feelings and some of my observations with you all, which may or may not improve your understanding. I really don't know. Which may or may not motivate you. I really don't know. I'm not a motivator. But of course, I would definitely be making a humble attempt in exploring these things from my perception as to how I have seen these things that have happened over a period of time, and what a teacher can do in this particular troubled waters, and how he has to keep on shifting from one particular expectation to another expectation. Now, a teacher is a person who has to constantly keep juggling aloud with a lot of expectations, not only about the students, but also about various other people, stakeholders rather. And it's definitely a challenging task right from the beginning of my teaching days, which happened in 1999 till now. The same thing I have been observing, I have been experiencing, and I am facing that. Yes, it's definitely one of the most challenging tasks, because we have something that majority of the people do not have, and that is rawness. We have raw people with us. We have raw emotions in front of us. We have people in the making, and definitely I'm proud to say we are the makers. Though we are not the makers of the destiny of the students, but we are the makers of something which is called as a possibility, something which is called as a hope that we would definitely be giving to our students in the form of lectures or all those the discourses that we do give to them. And it is this particular thing that made me that inspired me to share all my little thoughts and emotions with you all. With that, may I take you all permission to formally start my presentation? And I think the share screen is enabled, ma'am.
Yes, sir. You may share the screen.
May I get the feedback of whether my PPT is in the presentation mode?
Yes, sir. It is in the presentation.
All right, dear friends, let's start the journey of cultivating student success and empowering teachers for holistic student development. Now, what I have done is that I have prepared action plan by giving you all a theoretical backdrop of education philosophies, then moving on to answering the question of what exactly is meant by the term holistic and holism, then about what is the meaning of holistic student development, and why we are expected to hear quite often about this, and what exactly is constituted by this particular term holistic student development would be dwelled by me in a couple of slides that I have prepared. Correct me, any one of you have definitely rights to correct me, because once again, let me tell you, this is not my area of specialization, it is just an area of my interest. Now, Kamakshi ma'am referred to something called as troubled time during COVID. So it is this particular COVID situation that has brought along with it various changes that have taken place, and we all know about it. So owing to this, owing to the disruption that is being caused by technological innovations, what we have to start doing is to rethink about the education, rethink about the education system, rethink about the way in which the education has to be provided for, accommodated for, and accounted for amidst disruption. It could be technological disruption, it could be human disruption, but we definitely are in the troubled waters, as I used this particular term, owing to the disturbances in which we are and in which we are expected to perform. Now, that second aspect is very important. You may not scratch your screen right now. You still have the maximum of 1 hour of time to tolerate me. So please don't scratch your screens and just allow me to continue. Thank you very much. All right, let's continue with this. Come what may, I shall not be stopping before 1 hour. So you can disturb me, because anyway, this is a disturbance in which we are living. It's a classic example of that. Thank you very much. Now, let's quickly move on. Of course, let me not waste much of your time and your focus on that. Nevertheless, unless we know about what constituted educational philosophies, it becomes very difficult for us to think of anything about student development or educational methodologies as such. Now, education philosophies can broadly be classified into two, traditional and modern. Traditional happens to be that school which was advocated by Mahan Adamya Chaitanya Tagore sir, and he was a proponent of traditional teaching methodologies, in the sense that he proposed something which is called as naturalism. Naturalism is one of the education theory which says that take the education in the immediate nature in which it is. Take what it is in the same way in which it is. Fantastic. It is like, do not create a divide between what people have to explore and what people will explore. Who are you to stop them from thinking? So this noble thought was given by the Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore by giving emphasis on this naturalism. So he emphasized on naturalism, and moreover, like, he practiced naturalism in such a way that he completely avoided any formal classroom teaching and teaching methodologies. And you would definitely be surprised, and maybe many of you, I just went through your names, and many of you would be knowing this definitely better than what I know. Definitely, there's no doubt about it. And he never used to practice teaching. He never used to practice a syllabus. He never used to focus on any one particular aspect in any of his classes. He would just take up the question of a student on a particular day, and he would just point out them to the surrounding nature, and he would make them to learn. So bringing in the nature without adultering it is called as naturalism, which said that there must be a liberal thought, there must be a liberal flow of arts and architecture. That was about naturalism. Then came the idealism, which said, no, there must be some sort of a formal education that is required. You cannot leave everything to the students. You have to start giving them a path. So that is called as idealism. The third one is called as pragmatism, which says, look at the core. Do not ever bother about the nature. Do not bother about your ideas. Ideas may always go wrong. Ideas may be highly perceptive in nature. So have a sense of a wholeness, have a sense of a pragmatic approach, a core approach into everything. So teaching is a very, very formal behavior, and things must be very clearly marked, clearly attained. There must be specific and achievable goals that should be set, and there must be an environment in which students are to be made to sit and understand and go through the curriculum. Then came the realism, which is telling you, no, no, realism, do not ever bother about pragmatism. Look what is actually required by the society. Check about what is real and what is not real. You teach me astronomics. Will I ever use that? You teach me some sort of a mathematical formula that I never use in my life. What will I do with that? Now, this question started paying the way to realism. What is required? Focus on the skills that is required. Focus on the exact talent that can be acquired and then start doing things. So this was about the traditional thoughts. And the moment I started explaining them, you professors would know what are the limitations and advantages, and I would not go too deep into that. Now came the modern philosophies that was advocated by John Smarts and Steiner, Mario Montessori, and best person is John Dewey, his US professor, who is quite known for his modern education outlook. Now, these people coined a new set of terms which is called as perennialism. They said, look, why don't you start learning from the history? Why do you want to make the history absolute? Without history, you cannot learn something. So there must be a continuity between the past, which will be contributing to the present, which together will contribute to the future. So there must be a perennialism in the education system. And then came the thought, who am I? What am I? Who are you people who are doing there? What am I doing here? It's called as existentialism. Can you explore yourself with the knowledge that is given to you? Was the biggest question mark. If so, why don't you do it? So all behavioral aspects into the education system came from this particular thought. Then came reconstructionism, which said, why don't you reconstruct? Keep on rebuilding your syllabus. Why don't you rebuild your curriculum? Do not make it obsolete. And then came progressivism, which said, look, please stop all these things. Why don't you move your curriculum according to what is actually expected and what is actually happening in the outside world? So there must be a continuity, not in your education by looking back or looking at yourself, but please look at what's happening elsewhere. Take the dynamism that is present in the entire area and then start revising your syllabus and do the same and teach the same to the students. So these were all the education philosophies which contributed to the framing of policies and framing of curriculum in all those exact periods. Now the question is then, what is it that we are hearing this particular new thing, like why teachers are considered as designers of learning experiences? Now I request you all to just focus on these two nice words, designers. So we are no more teachers, we are no more lecturers, we don't lecture, but we design. What do we design? We design learning experiences. Why is it so? Why is it called? Because in modern philosophy, because of the application of the modern educational philosophies, now is a question that we have to start asking ourselves, are we following the right pedagogic approaches? A pedagogy, as you all know, refers to a set of systems. It refers to a set of practices that a person or a group of persons practice in order to make the curriculum reach to their final goal, that is the students. So it is this pedagogy of which we need to focus a lot in this modern world, in this disruption. So now gone are the days where we have to lecture. Now are the days we have to provide for an experience. Now how? Now, that is what I have designed in all the other slides. Like, let us just focus on this particular pedagogy, which says like, look, a pedagogy cannot be an absolute thing. It cannot be one thing. It cannot be one particular practice, but it must be a proper balance of these five very important elements. The first one is combinations, connoisseurship, content, construct, and a change. Let's quickly move on. We do not have much time. What do you mean by combination? As I was telling you all, that a pedagogical approach is made up of several specific methods that are combined in systematic ways. So a pedagogy is not one particular method that is followed by a teacher, but it is a combination of various methods that are adopted by one group of people or designed and devised by a group of people followed by a teacher. It can be called in that way. Now, there are two different layers are involved in this particular combination. One is combining discrete practices, that is individual in nature, within framing one particular common pedagogical approach. And the next very important thing is, how do you do that? You do it by using something called as established approaches that you can meet your long-term educational goals. So one thing is your discrete practices, how individually a teacher tries to achieve his goals. And second thing is, what are the established approaches that we have? Can you combine these things together and can you come up with a set of pedagogical approaches? So a pedagogy must always be a combination. As I told you, it must be a two-layered approach that we have to follow. Then what is connoisseurship? So your pedagogy should always be combined with expert application. So without you having that expertness in one particular domain, without you having an expert knowledge of the application of one particular pedagogy, it is very difficult for you to start applying blindly various pedagogies. So it is said that a teacher must have a complete understanding about one pedagogy or one set of pedagogical practices that he or that group starts applying to the classroom. How? That is because these designs need expert teachers teaching strategies. So unless you become expert in knowing exactly which pedagogical approach is required by the students, it is definitely a waste of time and energy by using. Let us say my target audience are rural people. My target audience are the people predominantly students from the rural areas. Now, if I ask them to start something called as a flipped classroom approach, what happens is I'll give them an assignment. Now they'll have to go home, they'll have to sit and they'll have to collect material, and then they have to prepare notes on their own and they have to get all the exercises on their own, come back and start presenting the same to me. Now this happens to be a flipped classroom methodology. Now if at all, if I apply this particular pedagogic approach without knowing whether that rural background student has access to internet or not, has access to power supply or not, has access to the time that is available to him or not, unless I know about these, and if I apply such a method, advanced method of flipped classroom to the target group, it would definitely be a miserable failure on my part, because they may not come back with the answers. They may not come back with the exercise at all. And next day morning, they'll be standing in front of you and you would be shouting at them, or you would be feeling bad about yourself, like why my pedagogy failed. Pedagogy has failed not because of you. It has not failed not because of your attitude of the students. It's failed because we did not understand the domain background of the students. So this is where I'm telling you, there must be an expertness in understanding the exact requirement of a pedagogy to the target group and how do you design it. The effectiveness of teaching is less a reflection of the surface level rather than something called as the deep level. So the deep layer or the deep level here refers to a teacher-student interaction around a meaningful context. So your pedagogy that we follow should be something that there must be an openness, there must be a discussion that should take place between a student and a teacher before applying the pedagogy and after applying the pedagogy. Moving to the central core, the central thing that is very much of importance is the content. Now, content is, as I told you, the core of your entire pedagogical approach. Now, what you're trying to teach them must be very clearly marked by you, designed by you, shaped by you, and bundled by you, and then it has to be given to the students. Not that you're not doing it, but I'm telling you from the methodological point of view. Therefore, particular pedagogies may be more appropriate than others for particular types of knowledge and competence areas. So, for language subjects, the pedagogy must be totally different. For application oriented subjects, the pedagogy must be totally different. So there is always a complexity. There is always something called as choice. There is always something called as expertness in a pedagogy. And unless we know that, we should not dwell upon accepting something just because it is new, it is modern, or it is something that another college is doing it. Now, questions about what is worth learning and how best to teach it often lies at the heart of the approaches termed innovate. And it is here that your innovation comes to the picture by thinking and understanding the exact appropriateness of a particular pedagogy and designing it and redesigning it to suit your requirement. So let us just look at this. Now, what do you exactly mean by the term content knowledge? There are two different approaches: content knowledge and pedagogical knowledge. Knowing about which particular method of teaching you must use is called as pedagogical knowledge. What is to be taught and how much to be taught is called as content knowledge. Now, if you want to mix these two, that is what is called as pedagogical content knowledge. And it should always be at the deep level, because if it is at the surface level, neither you nor the student will ever be benefited out of it. Context refers to the background of what I was trying to tell you all about who is your target audience. Context influences pedagogical appropriateness and effectiveness. It also shapes who's learning, who's your target audience, and what is relevant to them. Can they understand? Can they relate? Can they narrate? Can they feel? Can they experience? That is why I told you we are designers of experiences. We have to make them feel, think, immerse in one particular subject. And how do we do it depends to a larger extent on the background. It can be social background, it can be a cultural background, or it can be a physiological background of a particular student or a student community, that is student groups as such. That's what I was trying to tell you, which is in the next point. And so pedagogical choices and expertise are critical for addressing something called as equity. Now, equity is quite different from equality. In order to ensure that all my audience are not sleeping, may I just ask a very simple question? It's a very simple question, only to know how many of you are sleeping or how many of you are listening to, which I keep doing in all my lectures, because I'm very good at making my audience go to sleep. Can anyone try to just tell me? Please do not take it otherwise. It's just a small exercise. Tell me exactly what do you mean by the term equity? And I'll further bore you. What is it? What may be the difference between equity and equality? Now, you cannot give me an answer. No, sir, equity means, don't call me sir. It's Girish. You can't say, Girish, equality is equity. No. There's a fundamental difference between equity and equality. Is there anybody who can just to make sure that you are listening to me? I have my own doubts. You can unmute, you can use your chat. Organizers,
Sir,
kindly.
very good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma'am.
Myself, Kavya. Can I answer this question, sir, of
Please,
yours?
you're most welcome. I appreciate you, ma'am. You're not sleeping. So nice of you. Thank you.
Sir, equity means, for example, I'm just giving in a classroom. There are two sets of students. One student does not require any push. For them, you just give a normal teaching. Yes, they will do it. But there are some students we need to give an extra push, okay, which we don't have to give to the other set. That's called equity. Equality means whether they perform or don't perform, give them equal push.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Can I get some more answers?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma'am. Please don't call me sir. You can call me Girish, please. Then we are all
Okay, sir.
colleagues.
Okay, sir. Equity means that when somebody has some special needs, so in order to make him equivalent to the means other children or other persons, so when we are catering to those needs to make that person equal to them, so that is equity. For example, So in a class, if some child is a slow learner, and there are other children who do not need some push, just like earlier ma'am told. So a child who needs some special means his needs are some special, he needs some push. So then if teacher is catering to that need, so that means that we are providing such such means we can say that when special needs are taken care of, then in that case that means equity.
Thank you very much, Shambhavi ma'am. Thank
Can
you
we answer
for
the same?
explaining. Dr. Mohammed, good evening.
Yes, good evening, sir. So when we talk about this, mostly we use the methods of OB and SCL. So when we are giving all the students the same resources or the opportunities or the same support, regardless of their circumstances, they have their, we can say, uh, the needs they need. So when we go with the same paint or brush, so it means equality. But when there is a need that there are some students who need additional time, or for example they need a different set of teaching or a modified assignment because they might be having some learning issues or learning disabilities. So when we go in such a way that we treat them separately, so it is equity, means not treating with this or every student with the same way.
Exactly, sir. Exactly, Dr. Mahmood. Thanks a lot for answering all these questions. And I'm now quite convinced that at least some of my audience are not sleeping, and I'm still um, able to capture the attention of my target group. And thanks a lot for that. Now I'm quite motivated. Let me quickly take you to this word of equity, and this is one word that like has made me to go mad, go nuts on English law, because we can find the roots of equity in English law and in the laws of England, which happens to be very important source for our Indian law. And of course, law of any land holds equity at its utmost level because equity is called as natural justice. So that is where there is a difference between equality and equity. Equality is justice. Give a person what he deserves. Just do not discriminate. Everybody are made alike, so give them alike. This is what is called as justice. But once again, natural justice says, no, do not do that. You cannot in any way divide the resources in a common way, in an equal way to everybody. That is because give some time, give some background, give some cushion to those who are in more need of the same resource than a person who may be in less need about a particular resource. Now, differentiating two groups, differentiating people, providing opportunities in a different way is called as equity. Now, do we have grounds of it? Definitely, yes, we do have grounds of it. It's called as natural. What naturally comes is what is called as equity, and what is given in books and in rules and regulations is called as equality from my perspective. So quickly, if we need to give this equality and not equality in the classrooms, it is very important for us to first understand the context from where that student groups are coming. Now, the moment we understand this, it's my experience that there has been a fundamental change in me. Like I have thought before joining my government service, I've thought in the most prestigious institutions. And when I came to government service, I started teaching people who are socially challenged, who are culturally challenged, who are economically challenged. And the way in which they come from, their aspirations is totally different, totally mind blowing. It was so difficult for me to tune myself, to tune my approaches, to tune my strategies. And this is what is telling me now. That is where I learned this fantastic word called as equity. And give me an opportunity, I'll speak about equity for another 1.5 hours. It's just like Archimedes who says, give me 1 square foot of place, I'll just turn this particular world apart. Nevertheless, now this is what is about the beauty of understanding. So the moment I understood, yes, why students are not returning my assignments, why students are like not giving me answers in the classrooms, why they deliberately fail in giving me accounting answers, why they do not know anything of those same texts, the same subjects, the same things which other set of people used to answer it so well, bring all the assignments so well, do everything so well, fine. What about others? What about those who lag in the basic communities? Over this presentation, I don't know if time permits, sharing a bit of other insights that I have had in my limited exposure towards life. I call my teaching experience as exposure to life, because this is where I have learned about life, this is where I have seen life, and this is where I am still learning the most fabulous thing called as life. All right, with that, let's continue with this. So, what is the role of pedagogy in the context? Now, it is the context, it is the application of technology, and the balanced use of pedagogy, which brings in a miraculous transformation in the understanding of the students. And that is what we all as teachers would definitely want to know. Every one of us, irrespective of our backgrounds, irrespective of our specializations, irrespective of our domains, aspire for only one thing, and that is let them be the best in their lives. So maybe every teacher for that matter, whether it's in primary school, high school, PU, degree, post-graduation, the commonness in the teacher is that they always aspire that let the students become the best. And how can we aspire them to become the best is by having certain things in us, making certain preparations in us. And one such thing that I have observed is balanced use of three most important things: your pedagogy, your context, and the technology that you use. Because technology, if not used wisely, would always become a bane rather than a boon, which I think you all would agree to that, because even you would be having the same exposure towards whatever I'm trying to talk here. Many a time we have seen the disaster of the application of technology. We ask our students to prepare a PPT and come, and they just go to AI chatbot and they would download everything, they would come copy paste, and when we ask them to explain, no, they'll not explain anything. They'll just be reading out directly from the slides. Now, this is a disaster that we find in the application. So now the question mark here is, are we wrong? If yes, where are we wrong? And it's very difficult to digest this most insane thing called as we are wrong. We are teachers, so it's very rare that we are wrong. So what I say is that there must always be a mixture, admixture, a harmonious mixture, let me put it in that way, a harmonious mixture between a pedagogy, a context, and the technology, by which we can definitely get very good results. Now, why, Girish, all these things you are talking, and what is the topic? Why are you shifting away, my dear friends? I'm definitely not shifting away. I just gave some warm-up exercises to you people to understand the core and the crux of a discussion, and that is called as holistic education. Girish, why holistic education? It is not ICER, it is the National Education Policy of 2020, which for the first time, at least from the Indian context, highlighted the importance of including holistic education in teaching, particularly in higher educations. Now, focus from, I know many of you might be experts in NEP policy. If you take up the policy document, please go to section 11.1 to 11.13. These 12 very important policy recommendations that have been made by NEP 2020, particularly specifically highlighting the importance of including holistic education in higher education, in higher education scenario. And now we'll have to start thinking what exactly is the meaning of holistic education and why there is such a buzz going around everywhere. Even Kamakshi ma'am kept on telling you people for one and a half hour of our discourse that holistic education is important. But then the point is why it is important and what exactly is the meaning of the holistic education. I know very well that you may be experts in that. Many of you would be experts in it, but that would not in any way stop me from sharing whatever little I know. So, dear friends, kindly accept whatever or reject it. It's up to you people. At least give me an opportunity to listen to what I have to say about holistic development, because I say that it is this aspect which happens to be the key of the future, which happens to be the end result of all our pedagogical approaches, or all our aspirations, all our dreams, and all our identity, which culminates into something called a student success and student development and teacher commitment. And all these things can happen when a teacher focuses on the holistic development of the students. It is here that the theme of this workshop has rightly identified and captured the essence of modern teaching today. Is there anybody who wants to talk?
No, sir, please continue, sir. It was a distraction.
I was just expecting, Girish, why don't you just stop? It's okay. If there are
Please
no such,
proceed, sir.
if there are no such hindrances, or do I have to, ask if there is any doubt that you want to ask me or something like that?
So after the discussion, sir, we'll have a Q&A session.
Yeah, definitely, ma'am. Definitely,
Okay, sir.
we will do that. So let's continue with this. So, as I was trying to tell you all, that it is this concept called as holistic development, which is the culmination of all our efforts towards the successful delivery of the teaching methodologies and the delivery of the success of the students. So let's quickly move on. What exactly is this holistic development, and why we are bothering about holistic development so much? Before I move on, can I just give this in the form of a question to anyone who's just interested to talk for 1 minute or 2 minutes or so? Anybody who just wants to share in just 1 minute. Once again, I want to ensure whether you people are listening to me. I keep getting these nagging thoughts whether you people are just listening to me or not. Can I quickly get 1 or 2 responses? Why this holistic development is important? Anybody?
Sir, once again, good evening, sir. For the overall development of students, students should not be just theoretical. They should also gain practical exposure. They should also know how to acquire the skills and utilize that skills in the real life world when they start working.
Very true, ma'am. Very true.
Let me share my thought. There is a lot of disturbance.
Kamakshi, ma'am, good evening to you, ma'am.
Good evening, sir. There are a lot of disturbance among the students, distraction. There is no any background of ethics or values. So this may be the reason, one of the reasons to add the word holistic.
Fine, ma'am. Fantastic, ma'am. Thank you very much for participating. And now you have made my task more complicated because you are the listener there, ma'am.
I enjoy listening, because listening and learning is another way of holistic approach. Thank you
very much, ma'am. Thank you very much for such
Current scenario, we have seen that parents are pushing their children regarding, especially when we talk about marks.
Yes,
so many of the times we have seen students, they are suffering mentally in the classroom regarding this issue. So I feel that it is the role of the teacher that it should not be just in academics or in the marks. So the teacher's aim should to encourage the students and help them to have their we can say positive mental health as well as their emotional stability in the classroom.
Very well, sir. Fantastic point. Well taken, Dr. Mama, sir. Thanks once again for participating with such enthusiasm. Now, your enthusiasm has moved me in a positive way. So let me just continue with that with regards to Dr. Kamakshi, ma'am. Now, NEP, as I told you people, has around 12 different sections which exclusively speak about holistic development. And why is it so long? Is holistic development a new thought to you and to me and to us Indians? Can I quickly get 1 or 2 charts here? Is this holistic development a new practice in India?
No, sir. Exactly, no, sir.
Okay, ma'am. No. Anybody else would like to just chart here? Is this the new thing that NEP has brought, like NEP has introduced some sort of a new thing in India that we have never heard about?
No, sir. No, sir.
Was it being practiced earlier?
Yes, during
Yes, sir.
Sorry to intervene, sir. Moral education was the compulsory education when I was a student.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Okay. Moral education, ethics. Okay. Anything else? So you all agree that we Indians had a notion about holistic development, and we used to bother about holistic development much before the world started speaking about it, and when NEP took this clue and started including it as a policy formulation.
Yes.
Yeah, if that
Yes,
is it.
sir.
Yeah.
During
Thank you very much.
Gurukula
Yes.
period.
Yes.
Gurukula period.
Fantastic,
But
Lokeshwari
more
ma'am. Thanks a lot.
popularized
Now,
nowadays, sir.
thanks a lot,
Gurukula
Lokeshwari ma'am. Maybe you have seen my next slide. That is why you are giving me this answer called as Gurukula.
No, sir, I had attended one FDP program last year on the same topic, organized by University of Mysore.
Okay, ma'am. Anyway, that happens to be the slide which I have prepared for you people with my limited knowledge. Correct me if I'm wrong. So why there is a buzz, as I told you, why do we need holistic education? That is because basically it's the ancient heritage which is the foundation of Indian philosophy as education. Now in Western world, maybe that is new, where people like Field Marshal John Smuts, who happens to be the person who introduced this philosophical context called as holism, which means look at the world in its totality, not as a separate item. Now he says the entire thing must be looked at once when you understand something, and that is what is called as holism, which happens to be in Greek literature. That is what has been told. Now I started laughing when I heard of this. Anyway, I couldn't ask Field Marshal John Smuts because he is no more now. My question is, why is it is in Greek philosophy? It is much earlier in Indian philosophy itself, because our entire education system earlier was based on this pedagogical approach called as holistic education. So I have just prepared a few points to support my claim. So this entire Indian philosophy of education was basically because of the heritage that it has, and it has followed a rich tradition. And what is that tradition from which it has got it? From Takshashila and Nalanda, the temples of knowledge of the ancient India. So it is in these, not only in these are just examples. Even in other parts of India, there were discourses, there were immersion of knowledge and supply of knowledge, and everywhere there was this particular practice of giving something called as holistic education. How we can get the evidence from Banabhatta's Kadambari, which says that look, a good education should always be a knowledge of 64 kalas. Kalas here means arts. It is not just arts, it is fine arts. What is the difference between arts and fine arts? The skill with which you render one of the most beautiful things in the world is called as kala, or skill. So he says there is a list of 64 kalas, and if a person has completed his knowledge or acquired his knowledge in 64 kalas, will be called as a king. So every person who wanted to be a king in the ancient India was supposed to be an expert of 64 such specializations, which we call as kalas. Girish, do you exactly mean kalas means arts? No, sir, it is not so. We had such highly sophisticated and specialized kalas with us, which are called as Sugandha Yukti. By then itself, in the ancient Indian philosophy itself, we had this rich tradition called as science of aromatics and application of aromatherapy to human souls, which is called as Sugandha Yukti, and Takshana, art of carpentry, Vastu Vidya, art of engineering, Dhatuvada, art of metallurgy, Akara Gnana, art of mineralogy. So with all these specializations, we have this particular concept called as Indian education system. Now, I'll just give a very brief introduction about this. Please wait for me till I complete. Now, of course, this is maybe thought as a deviation. No, sir, it is definitely not a deviation. It is only trying to tell you people, or I'm trying to share whatever I know about holism, about holistic education. I'm trying to trace the roots from where this holistic education has come and what exactly is the manifestation of national education policy. Now, in Indian traditional knowledge. We always know that we have smrutis and shrutis, and shrutis bring your Vedas and Vedangas, but Vedanta is brought by Smriti. Now, this is not the time where I can go ahead. Very, very briefly, let me tell you what is heard and what is told is called as Vedanta, and what is revealed is called as Veda. So basically, these are the two things based on which we have 14 Vidyas, which support the application of Veda and the Upaveda. Upaveda is Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, that is specialization areas, which help you to carry out what is mentioned in Vedas. Once again, there are 14 such pillars which will help you to understand the exact application of what is shown in Vedas and Upavedas, which are called as 14 Vedangas. And then you have 10 different types of experiential learning. Dear friends, understand, underline this word called as experiential learning, which we had long time back in our ancient Indian philosophy itself, which is called as Sad Darshana. We have Puru Mimamsa. You would never be limited by one explanation, because there would definitely be 101 answers for one question, and every one question need not have one answer. Now that is the basis of Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, and various yoga and other things. Now let me not take you people into this. And the roots of all these things would be laid by Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and Upanishads. So in ancient India, nothing was taken for granted. Everything would be questioned, pounded upon, and the holism would be revealed, the totality would be revealed, the Dvaita and Advaita, which says that yes, do whatever you want to do, but understand the truth. That's all. It's that thing for which the entire knowledge is there. So that is called as Indian education, and that is the holistic, the exact meaning of the term, holistic development of students. So what is actually envisaged by NEP 2020? Her holistic and multidisciplinary education would aim to develop all capacities. Now, this is a wonderful word that I come across in NEP. I love that. The way in which the wordings have been done in those 10 subsections, develop all capacities of human beings, being intellectual, aesthetic, social, physical, emotional, and moral. Because ethical standards and ethical knowledge happens to be one of the most important thing. Nyaya, the foundation of Nyaya in ancient India, not only ancient, dear friends, everywhere, it is the ethics which happens to be the foundation of any society. So that is what is envisaged by NEPs, that look, this concept of Nyaya should be included in the minds of the students, whether they are students of law or not. Let us not stop them from not learning something that is not there in their curriculum. Look, this is a negative approach. Let us not do that. Let us teach them everything. Let us teach the totality in them in an integrated manner. Now, why do we do that? We need such an education will help develop the well-rounded individuals that possess critical capabilities to face the 21st century, where it could be in arts, humanities, languages, social sciences, professional, technical. I'm trying to be rapid because you can find it in internet. National Education Policy is not what I have prepared. I've just downloaded it. And ethic of social engagement, soft skill, communication, discussion, rigorous specialization in a chosen field or fields. Such a holistic education shall be in the long term the approach of all undergraduate programs, be it in the professional, technical, or even in occasional disciplines. Now, this is what NEP is talking about, holistic education. And these are the signals that are making us to try and understand the importance of the policy formulation on holistic development. So it is here that we have to start taking the concept of holistic development in a very, very serious nature, because it is quite, now it has become formal. It is not of a choice. All these days before NAP, it was a choice whether to focus on holistic development or not, but now it is a part of us. It's a part of the curriculum. It is a part of every teacher that he has to have this concept of holistic approach towards the students. Moving on. Now, other than the curriculum, how do you have this concept of holistic development, and in what ways we can bring in this holistic development. Now see, the ones that I have marked are few of the developments that take place in human minds and in human bodies. Physical, motor, fine motor, sensory, self-help, and language. These are called as basic, primary, and up to middle. Especially physical and fine and sensory happens in Montessori or in LKG, UKG, and self-help and language skills will be coped up by them in their mid-level journeys. So what really we need to bother about is four very important thing, and that is cognitive, which is academic in nature, social, collaborative, emotional. As I told you, this happens to be my area of interest, emotional well-being and emotional intelligence, and moral values and moral ethics. Now, these are the things that we have to bring in the curriculum. If it is already there, fine. If it is not there, we as teachers, we as policy formulators have to bring in these four very important core values in the system, because it is these things that will make them, that will enable the students to have a well-rounded development in them. Now, cognitive here refers to the in-depth, innate understanding of a person which by himself will not be known. Now, this is where teachers will have to play a pivotal role. Now, a person would not be knowing about himself or herself, and it is very much important for us to determine whether this person is capable of doing something or not. How can we do that unless we develop a deep sense of understanding about the students? Now you may ask a question, Girish, what nonsense you are talking. If your target audience is 100 and you are teaching here and you have just 1 hour, can you have an individual understanding about the cognitive ability of student? Tell something which is manageable. Now, if this is a question, my answer is yes. That is where teacher is not called as just a teacher, is called as a designer. It is our responsibility, which I am very well aware that you people are doing about that. We are always taking one step ahead than what is in curriculum. We always try to take up one extra responsibility when it comes to the students' requirement. Definitely, we will not be working for the colleges. We will always be working before and after the colleges. And it is these aspects of us which will definitely make us to understand the cognitive ability of the students. And if it is not yet done, then it is a time that we have to start making certain philosophies, certain practices to understand the cognitive. See, basic ability, intellectual ability, everyone will understand. You'll give a set of questions, he or she will answer, and I'll give marks, and I'll be quite judgmental in saying, you are a waste body. We are very happy by being judgmental to our own students. But the question is, instead of judging his accomplishments or performance, why don't you start understanding what went beyond? And that is where the cognitive skills and abilities come to the picture. Now, can we make them to think critically? Can we make them to think out of the box? Can we inspire them to know something else which we have not yet thought? Now, this is known as like bridging the gap between what we want to do and what they are. Furthermore, the moment we start about holistic development, the next very important concept is about collaborative spirit that we would want to bring in, or if we have not brought in, then it is a must, because social learning is focused more in NEP, which says you have to encourage the well-being of the students by motivating them, not forcing, by motivating them to become more collaborative in nature. There must be collaborations not only between students or among students, but also between a teacher and a student. How can we have collaborations? Many of you are doing that collaboration already. You're writing research papers, and whenever the next time you give a project to them, when you accompany them to a project area, and when you start collecting the responses from the responders, now that is collaborative. Giving assignments to a group of students rather than to one student. Now there is a last slide which I have just noted down few things. Of course, those are, I mean, I have a doubt, like, why Girish, why are you wasting your time? It is something that people know. My teachers would be knowing all these things. Nevertheless, as they have called me for this keynote, let me also just share what little I know. That is what has made me to prepare the last slide. Let me not be sort of a judgmental, or let me not be recommendatory in nature. I'm not that. In case if you can hold on till the end, maybe I'll be sharing few of the practices that are expected in case of social and in case of emotional and in case of moral. These things will have to be included in the students, and we can do that by incorporating them in the curriculum. Now that is where we have to do, and then these things will churn on them, will be percolated on them, and the grassroots level changes can be observed once if it is percolated in them. Now the next question is adapting to the needs of Gen Z learners. Now I wanted to pronounce it as Gen Z. My daughter is telling me, Dad, what's wrong with you? It is not Gen Z, it is Gen Z. Now she is a walking example of the next generation, which is called as Alpha. In the evening, how and to what extent there is a generation gap. I was just going through these slides, and my daughter came from a school. She's just fourth standard, and she is telling, "Oh, Papa, nice that you are talking about generations." I very good. I said, "What nonsense do you know about generations?" Oh, she said, "What should I know? I know all these things. I know Gen X. I know Gen Y. You're an absolute person. You belong to Gen X." And then I said, "Hey, I'm speaking about Gen Z." She said, "Nonsense. Do not say Gen Z. It's so bad. Say Gen Z." Okay, then what do you know about Gen Z? Like the way in which she answered took me by surprise. And I said, "Oh, how is that the generation? My own daughter, like, knows certain things that even many a time I may not be knowing. Now, this is the generation. Yeah. And she's telling, I'm so proud to be called as an alpha generation, Papa." Okay. What do we exactly mean by this generation for people who happen to be my friends, in the sense who do not know much about these Gen X, Gen Y? What are all these? I have just prepared one small slide. I know you all know about it. Now, these are the different kind of generations and the tendencies or aspirations or things about the people that has been grouped or classified. Of course, loosely, let us just focus on this Gen X. Gen X are the people like how my daughter said, people like I am. So we have born in that particular time between 1965 and 1980. And then we have millennials, 1981 to 1996. And then the Zoomers, Gen Z, let me call them as Gen Z. And it is this Gen Z who happen to be our target audience. That is why I'm more focused on Gen Z. And these people who have born after 2014 are Generation Alpha, the most notorious and most dangerous. Why do I call them as that? Because of this. I have just acquired a few of their characteristics. Now, Gen X, you can see the one who is on the screen and the one who is there. Almost there is no much difference. If I start wearing my specs, I'll be looking at that. Now, these are the people like who are loyal, who use personal computer, who are formal in their outlook, who try to take things in a formal things or formal sense. And they are Gen X because this is a group that has witnessed a migration from non-digital period to digital period. So they are in this particular bracket period where they are embracing the technology. Everything seems to be new. Everything seems to be so fast and rapid. And unless we keep a pace of this, it is very difficult for us to understand what's exactly is happening. Now, then we have Gen Y, which happens to be a little bit smarter than us because these are the people who have already embraced internet, who have already embraced digital technology with them the moment they were born. And for them, this particular period, this environment is quite natural. It is their natural habitat. But for me, being digital is definitely not a natural habitat. For me, library with physical books is my natural habitat. So these are the Gen Y people, but we have to focus more on Gen Z people because they are the people who are the result, because they are the product of Gen Y, which already are capable technologically, who are already restless because of the changes of disruption that has already happened in their minds. And it is this particular target group that we have to focus at now. How do we build holistic development strategies to a set of people who are constant troublemongers to us, who are constant challenges to us, and who are totally new to us? Like we The moment I start sharing some more, maybe you will start knowing the same experience, because even you would have undergone the same experiences that I had undergone earlier. And this is because of this gap that is there between the educator and the one who is being educated. All right, let's quickly move on to this. The focus, I request you all, as we do not have much time, I'm already short of time. Going to the Gen Z, focus on the context, like what is their background, mobility and multiple realities. Now, for us, we only have physical reality, but for them, we have virtual realities. For them, everything is happening, everything is correct, everything is felt like, but it is felt like, but they do feel like. Everything is felt like and feel like is totally different, and it is what these people are. They have fantastic social networks. You ask this Gen Z person whether he does not have a friend in any part of India and any part of the world, he says nonsense. Because practically they'll be having hangout friends, hang on friends, and friends with whom you will hang on at one point of time. And because of the social networking that we have. And they are called as digital natives, because for them, as I told you, digital is their natural habitat. You give your mobile phones to your son or a daughter or to a toddler, they will start using mobile in a better way than what we do. And God forbid, they will definitely teach us what is to be done. Never ever compete with a toddler when you're playing video games, because we have, I mean, at least I can never compete with them. So it is this context on which we are trying to talk to. And what about the behavior? Behavior is like they have undefined ID. What do you mean by that? Undefined ID? I don't have time. I'll just tell you, they do not have I. They have a very different kind of I. What is the purpose of I? They say, I am born with one particular requirement, and that is I have to prove what I am. Every moment you can feel this constant pressure in them, saying that, look, I have to do this. I have to do this. We have to do this. So that is undefined ID concept that they have. And they are communaholic. That is, they always feel safe with a community, whatever might be their choice. The choice of community is up to them. There can be a PUBG community. There can be a real pub community. I really don't know. But they have a community as such with which they'll feel safe. And they are a dialoguer. Now, this is very important to us. Like, they don't take anything for granted. They don't take anything on the surface level. They want, it's not that they're questioning you. Now, this is where there is a lot of difference between being questioning and being a dialoguer. A dialogue is a person who enjoys a constant dialogue and who will never be comfortable in a monologue as such, which are a category of Gen X people. Like, we are fine if somebody is talking, oh, very nice, we will listen, we'll take notes, and only at the end of the session, if at all, if the speaker gives them a chance, they'll just ask a question or a few questions, and they are very happy. But here, the Gen Z people are not that. They will never sit idle even for 5 to 10 minutes. So how do you engage them? Start involving them into your talking. So they like to talk a lot. And they're quite realistic. It's very easy to teach Gen Z people because they already know whatever you know in a better way. They have multiple sources from where the knowledge comes in. And it's not that one source. So they, if not the exact sense of the thing that you want to tell, they know the gist of it. Now, making them to understand something from the gist is what is tough, because you have to make them unlearn and relearn because they have already learned. So we have to follow this practice of making them unlearn and relearn, and this can be done only by having a subject specialization. All right, so let's quickly move on. So what are the challenges in teaching Gen Z? Like I was trying to tell you about their characteristics. Like, they demand fast response. They don't sit idle. They are used to social media. They are highly connected. All right. And they are tech savvy. For them, technology is a matter of just child's play, and prefer visual form. Whatever you want, they want a model. They want something in writing. They want something to be seen, something to be felt. And they love attention time. You give more interest to them and they love that. They want to be entertained. Look at this. And fast acquisition, they are very, very good at acquiring and processing knowledge. Now, processing is something which goes with the generation, and their processing time is quite high when you compare to other people. So now I just quickly gathered few information about this. What could be the career choices of this? So very nice survey has happened by Microsoft with the help of a NGO in US called as Yuga, and they have just analyzed the survey responses, and Microsoft has come up with a report of Gen Z, and it says 1 out of 3 are definitely not even worried about starting a career because they haven't thought about it. Why? Because they're so confident. I'll do something. More than half of the people would want to do some sort of a job that does not exist at all. Now, a couple of months back, we never knew that there existed a job called as code writer. We never knew a sort of a job called as prompt editor, prompt designer. These are the two things. Like, what do you mean by prompt generator and prompt designer? The prompt designing is the basics of the entire AI. So a person visualizes what could be the possible questions and prepare answers, and then expects more questions, and he'll get the databases attached to it. Now, unless I know what is asked, I will not prepare the data set. మేడం ఇంకా కొంచెం టైం ఉంది, కొంచెం 5 minutes ఇవ్వండి, నేను స్టాప్ చేసేస్తానండి. Thank you very much. All right, so let's get back. Now, these are the new things that we may not have heard. At least I did not hear about it. Prompt engineer, prompt technology. So there are gamification. What are you doing? I'm writing code for a game. I said, what nonsense? Oh, what do you mean by this? He said, oh, you don't know much. Gaming is a very popular thing. I said, yeah, playing PUBG. Nonsense. That was being played 10 years back, man. This is something else. You will never understand. I said, okay, at least try to tell me. Gaming is totally different. Like, we give you a lot of choices. There are so many codes. There are expert things. There are several other platforms on which the gaming will be done. And it's a huge industry. Fine. So gaming, thinking, artistic, temple run, there are so many things that these people want to do. And 1 out of 3, it seems they do not know the type of the career that they want to join. And 47.8% people say that they are well versed with technology. So nothing is new to them. So if given a job, they will start doing the job immediately without needing any training at all. And 38% are saying, I would rather do some sort of job. I would rather do a business rather than a job. I would want to start something new. I would want to start something on my own. I want to realize myself. So that is the tendency of people. And 65% people are strongly believing that technology has changed everything, and it is this technology which will always be a part of it. That is where we are getting a lot of choices. I'll just show you what choices we get, and majority of them are believing that STEM is the way to the future. STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics happen to be the core areas in which there's a lot of careers are. Based on this, what are the most probable career choices of these people? Now, this is where things surprises us. They are very, very intelligent who have chosen hospitals and healthcare, financial services, higher education, and information technology is not sought much compared to retail and hospital care. Now, this particular thing will tell us that there is a fundamental difference in the way in which these Gen Z people are thinking, and unless we know and understand them, we cannot prepare exact pedagogical practices. So what could be the effective teaching strategies that we may have to, if not already done? What could be the most probable things that we could try to bring in a teaching? It's not that I have researched it. It's not that I have invented it. I have discovered it. It is some things that I have learned over a period of time by teaching. and some things which I found as correct and good, if at all, if we include it in teaching. Blended learning. Now, there cannot be one particular methodology of teaching. That's why I told you pedagogy is very important for us to know the basic aspect of holistic development. How could we have a blended learning? You cannot always have a physical contact classes. Blend it with something called as hybrid mode. Combine face to face with online learning experiences. So weekly, at least one or two. Of course, there are modalities for that. There are statutory obligations. We cannot say, well, I'll take class from home and the principals will definitely kick us. We can't do that. So if it is possible, can you do this? Combine face-to-face and online learning experiences. Use learning management softwares. Now, majority of the colleges have their own learning softwares. Even government colleges, Karnataka government has introduced this wonderful concept of learning management system, or a teacher by himself can be empowered in technology. They can use the Google Classroom, they can customize it and they can use it. They can use Moodle. And try to encourage flexibility and support in diverse learning pace. In physical classes, the problem is that we expect everybody to understand things in the same pace, and it is very difficult. A person's processing ability, as I told you, cognitive skill may differ from a person to person. So can we understand it and can we try to bring it in the teaching? The next one is flipped classroom, a new type of a methodology that is being done. But we cannot exactly use flipped classroom because of the technological disturbances that may happen. What we can do is we can just use some sort of a mixed version of flipped classroom methodologies. We can assign lecture videos or reading materials at home, or you can use classroom time for discussion, collaboration, and problem solving. Majority of the problem solving should happen at home, and the extended understanding of the application should happen in the classes. What can happen? It promotes active learning and student accountability. But the only problem is you can do it with less strength, where your target group is very less, maybe 30 to 25 or 40. And in our government colleges, if you can see, we'll have a minimum of 90 to 100 inputs in each and every class. And it is quite a challenge. It's not that it's totally impossible. It's a challenge for us to have this form. So I am not a advocate of flipped classroom methodology, but it can be done in limited groups. But I am an advocate of something called as gamification. So Girish, what are you trying to say? Gamification, my dear friends, is a new
Girish, sir,
method.
sorry to disturb you. Just a second.
Ma'am, tell me, ma'am.
Sir, can we take a screenshot of all the participants?
Yeah, ma'am.
We request all the participants to turn on the video, please.
And preferably, kindly smile.
Dr. Shobha Ines will coordinate, sir. Shobha ma'am?
Just switch on the video. I will take the screenshots. Smile, please.
Is it done, ma'am?
There are many pages. Last page.
Is it done?
Yeah.
Is it done, ma'am? Can I continue?
Yeah, it is done.
Can you kindly give me another 5-10 minutes time so that I can wrap up things? Or how much exact time I have, ma'am?
10 minutes should be fine, sir.
Okay, now I could see that two of you people have raised your hands. Are there any questions at this juncture? Because we are at the climax now. So kindly bear with me for another 5-10 minutes so that I would be wrapping up my session. What I was trying to tell you people is about the gamification, which happens to be a new modality of teaching, which is one very strong pedagogical approach that is being introduced with the help of technology. So let's quickly try to understand what exactly is this. Introducing game elements like winning, losing, marks, badges, importance, these things in learning. Now, how do you do that? How do you incorporate this game philosophy, winning or losing, or acquiring importance or not, into learning methodology? Now, these things will definitely increase your motivation, engagement, and competitive spirit. How is it so? Now, see, many a time in the DPs of our students, we could see various things that we have never heard of, we have never seen of, and maybe even those types of avatars would make the ghosts run away. Now that is the importance. Everybody wants to express themselves in a very different way, in a digital way, and avatars are very important now. So we have to understand the students' avatars, and other than seeing their student avatars from our naked eyes, we have to also understand their virtual avatars. And these progress bars will also be included in a particular game if it is incorporated, if it is modulated properly in a classroom. What are the tools you have? Duolingo, a language gamification device which gives you language based exercises where the teacher, who is called as a moderator, can have his own set of groups and I can assign topics, and this particular Duolingo app will keep on telling what each and every group is doing. And if you assign marks, it will also be displaying something called as a leaderboard in which the marks of the groups can be seen. And we have Khan Academy, which is another gamification. Basically, it is an online knowledge hub, but it also has this gamification included where badges and points and summaries are included. And another very popular gamification is Kahoot, which is a quiz-based learning methodology that is incorporated. You can make quizzes and you can just give it online to your students by making them into groups or individual. And you have got wonderful software which keeps on giving answers by itself. You key in the answers, it will value, it will give marks, and it will give a record, it will do everything for you people. Quizzes, leaderboards, and storyboards, these are various softwares that we have which will help us to start using gamification in our classes. Then micro learning, instead of teaching to the entire class, why don't we make groups in the classes and try to incorporate these different changes in the classes and deliver your content in modules to different types of class. Helps with better attention span and retention, and it's great for complex topics when broken into digestible parts. And we can use real world relevance and application. Now, this is something which we keep doing, but this itself should be focused more about. And now comes the topic. Now, I really don't have time, otherwise I would have definitely loved to I speak on emotional intelligence. Unless we understand the emotions, the thoughts, the process of the students, it's very difficult for us to make them to be our good listeners. So we have to understand their social, cultural, religious. Very important for us to understand their cultural backgrounds. While giving examples, it should be very, very, very important for us to know the examples what we give may or may not hurt them. Now that's a very important thing. Now you may hurt one person by giving one particular example for the common good of the class, but even that particular student is important to you. Now it is where your emotional intelligence comes to the picture. And every student comes from different kinds of societies, different cultural classes, different experiences, different environment. So when they are there with you, it's very important for you to understand their background and their emotions. And once when we do this, we'll have a sort of a connect that is naturally established in the classroom. And it is this connect which will help us to become fantastic facilitators of knowledge dissemination. Okay, so inclusivity. Now the output of emotional intelligence is inclusivity. Now, in case if you make one student to be secluded from the group learning, it would be quite disastrous on the part of the social development of that particular student. If a person comes late to the class, now there are things, or if a person is not answering properly, and if we try to use strong words to them, or if we make them to keep on understanding that they don't know anything, they don't participate, now this is where we may fail to bring in that change in them. So there must be inclusivity, and this inclusion must be done from the teacher's point of view. And we have to always focus. We all do that. It's not that we don't do, but inclusiveness will always contribute to holistic development of the students. All right. So let me just sum up by saying that teachers are actually leaders. They are the emotional anchors. They are the catalysts who always fuel to the personal growth of the students, and they always are a part of the policy. If not, they should always be a part of the policy formulation. They must active role in curriculum design, and they should take up leadership in mentoring systems, which may be ignored, but mentoring is a fantastic way of having a meaningful discourse with your student community. So with that, let me just sum up the quotes of uh, Dr. Rabindranath Tagore. He says the highest education is that which does not merely give us information. For giving information, there are so many, but makes our life in perfect harmony with all the existence. So why don't we just say that we are a part of the bigger universe and make our students learn that and imbibe that in their life. And let us not forget, Swami Vivekananda says, education is the manifestation of the perfection which is already in people. They have knowledge, but we have to just steer them in the right direction, and we have to make them realize their potential. So we teachers have to focus on that, is what is my perception about teaching. So with that note, let me thank you, and let me also request you all to make your students to be as happy as this particular note. Thank you all, and I should say you have been a wonderful audience. You have definitely motivated me in sharing what little I knew about this particular subject or topic. Anything that could be corrected, kindly let me know. And thank you all. I am now open to questions. Thank you.
Participants can unmute and raise your questions, or you can also post it in the chat box.
ಹೌದು ಕೃಷ್ಣ. Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, ma'am.
Sir, earlier, in Sanatana Dharma, what we call debate. So the debate was very positive and what do you tell? It was a learning experience without people taking it personally. But now if there is a debate, it means, okay, I will not see your face tomorrow. It's like that. So can you please, tell me, how do we, bring that?
Yeah, ma'am. That can be brought out if we show something called as empathy with the student community. The moment we start understanding the students, and when we equate them with us, the barrier between we teachers and the students will be minimized. And when we start respecting them as an individual, like how we are, then there will be some sort of a meaningful discourses. Like I was trying to tell you all about Mimamse, which happens to be different aspects of the common truth. When we know that there is no one universal truth, truth may have 101 faces. If we know that, and if we do that, if we practice, and if we make the students quite competent to start asking questions, because Swami Vivekananda always said, make people to ask questions, do not make them cowards. So unless we communicate it with the students and make them feel confident that yes, I can ask questions to this particular person, we cannot bring in a dialogue. As I told you, there must always be a dialogue. There must be a debate, but there must not be an argument, because nobody wins an argument, but everybody can participate in a debate. Thank you, ma'am. Any other question?
Thank you, sir. Dr. Shobha, ma'am?
Srilakshmi madam, please continue.
Okay.
I think sir is busy. Ajay sir is busy.
Okay.
So we will just.
Okay, I request Dr. Shobha to propose vote of thanks.
Yeah. So, all the esteemed faculties, online distinguished guests and valued participants, we've gathered here to express our sincere gratitude for this successful completion of day one faculty development program on cultivating student success, empowering teachers for holistic student development. So I just would like to, just tell one thing which Kamakshi ma'am told, that I means illness. We means wellness. So that those two lines, keep haunting me maybe my whole life. So then sir also spoke about, 4 core dimensions which we need to concentrate on. That is the cognitive, social, emotional, and moral aspects. So if we have to develop students holistically. So these things, we learn from each other, and then, we tend to grow. So I really, I'm really thankful to Kamakshi ma'am and Girish sir for sharing their expertise and knowledge, to the entire nation. So I also give my, extend my heartfelt gratitude to the institution for its, unwavering support. Our principal, Dr. Ejaz Ahmad Khan sir. So always, whenever we tell we need to do this program, he always says, yes, go ahead. So he's always, he gives us unwavering support. So I thank him on behalf of the entire college and this program. I also thank our head of the Department of Commerce, Dr. Ravindra Katoti sir. I thank all the, organizers, Dr. Shri Lakshmi ma'am, then Dr. Jayalakshmi ma'am, Chandan sir, everyone, without whose support, conducting these types of programs is really impossible. And then ultimately, without the participants, it is zero. It is not at all possible to conduct such programs. So we, on behalf of RC, Government Ramnaran Chilaram College of Commerce and Management, I thank all the participants for their active engagement and enthusiastic participation. Your willingness to learn and share experience and collaborate with us has created a vibrant and supporting learning environment. And your commitment also, helps in improving student outcomes, and it is really very, very inspiring. So we extend our heartfelt appreciation to the speakers, resource persons, participants, the entire college. And this is the first day, and we expect the same participation, enthusiasm from everyone, the whole week. So let's have a learning week, the whole week. And with this, I, thank everyone once again, and have a good night. Thank you.
Special thanks to Dr. Shobha Ines. Thank you so much, ma'am, for organizing this event. Thank you, Girish sir. Let's
Thank you, ma'am.
collaborate with more
Wish you all,
such platforms and programs.
wish you all a great success.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir.